So we're going to talk today a little bit about sounds and tone and using the tools you have and creating atmosphere and doing the things that is required typically of a guitar player in a lot of different settings across the board. And I'm just going to start with the very basics for me because one of the things we do is we travel a lot. Or in a lot of different countries, different settings. You don't always get the amp that you ask for or the guitar you ask for or any particular instrument, and so you make do. And one of the reasons I have a lot of pedals on a board is because you never know what you're going to get. So I'm going to start with an amp because for me, tone really does start here in your fingers, but it also is critical, the guitar you're playing. As we know, everything about the guitar affects the sound, from the pickups to the wood that's used in building the guitar. So there are a lot of factors, and it's not just any guitar sounds good. And same with amps, same with pedals. So it kind of just trickles all the way down the line. I'm going to start with kind of, when I say tone, I mean a couple of different things. We obviously have sound, and we think of tone being just the different guitar tones. But before you think about tones, plural, let's talk about tone. The difference in playing a note as bland as that to a simple nuance helps define what a tone really is and what defines tone. And when you start with an amp, you've got a lot of parameters on the EQ and the control, so tone then transfers to the amp. And one of the first things I do is I without any effects on the guitar, I play a guitar direct to an amp. If it's the first thing when I get to a venue that we go to, is I bypass my board, plug into my amp, and start with the tone there. Because for the guy out in front like Chuck, it's a lot, it gives him a little bit better thing to work with depending on what I give him. So as an example, I have a deluxe here. This is an old deluxe. It's my personal one that I love, but I don't always get to have it when I go. But the basics are the same. You've got bass, mid, treble on an amp. I'm using no overdrive in this amp at all, and that's typical for most settings when we go, that I'm plugging direct into a clean signal that I would like to hear it clean first. Makes sense, right? So I'm gonna dial in what I like, and typically I will roll the low end pretty far back. Even though a beefy tone is nice, oftentimes when you're switching pedals, the beef and the low end becomes part of the muddy factor. It clutters the sound. It fills up sonic space. So one of the first things I do is dial in a tone. It's not too low endy, so let me demonstrate if I had the bass a lot further up. If I were playing a real funk part, that's a nice sound, but when I go to other sounds, I want the more of the mids, the highs to be clear. So I start with a basic setting of the bass rolled to 3. And so it's a little brighter. So that gives me a much better tone for cutting through in a mix, and that's important. A lot of times we have a lot of tools at our disposal, but we start clicking on pedals and playing sounds that don't translate out front at all, and we're not aware of that because we've not done the right things to examine our tone. So treble, I've got probably midway up. Take that back. I've got it even rolled down on this amp to about 3 to 4. That's usually a sweet spot, or just midway. If you start on any amp with the bass, mid, treble kind of at the middle position and start backing off of your low, your mids, depending on the sounds you want, you might boost a bit, but rely on your sound man to tell you if it's sounding too mid-rangey. And then your treble, you might start in the mid, you might tweak just a little bit, 5 or 6, just above the midpoint. So that starts with a good plug in the guitar basic tone. So now I can start adding things to the mix that also help define a tone.